Hi everyone, welcome to another day of online art classes. Today we're going to be doing a drawing, portrait style inspired by Cubism and Pablo Picasso. So Picasso was the father of Cubism along with George Braque. He's a Spanish artist that made artwork in the 1900s. I have a nice picture of some of the artwork that Picasso did. And his movement, Cubism, is basically simplified as representing an image in many angles. So, for example, if you look at this picture, you can see the children and the faces being represented in several different angles through the color and through the lines. Okay, so we're going to do a simplified version of that, and we're just going to draw a face, and if you ever Google Pablo Picasso portrait cubist, you'll find an image that looks similar where you're basically drawing a face and you recognize it to be a face, but it's not really realistic. It's not the way human beings actually look outside, but it's an abstraction, and that's what makes it art and amazing, is that it's creative. So here, as you can see, basically we have eyes, nose, mouth, all made by very simple lines. I made this drawing inspired by Picasso and Cubism, and then I colored it in based on color scheme. So we're going to do a step-by-step of this portrait, and then I'm going to talk about color schemes and ways to color. And of course, our supplies today, markers and crayons as usual. And if you want to, if it makes you more comfortable, we can also sketch at first in pencil. It's totally up to you. So I'm going to move my camera so you can see a little closer as always. Great. So to start off with your cubist and abstracted face, which, by the way, I don't know if I explained this, abstraction, I kept mentioning that word. It just means that it's not exactly the way it looks in reality. It means that it's been simplified or changed in a way that it looks abstracted. Okay, so that's one way to describe abstraction. Okay, so to get started on this face, I am going to begin with my eyes. I know I want my eyes to be somewhere in the center of my page, and I'm going to make them nice and big. And as we talked about with the butterfly, the rainbow fish, if you ever did those lessons, everything is just made up of lines. So to start with my eyes, I'm going to do a curved line, and I'm going to close it off with another curved line, and I'm going to draw a circle inside. And for my other eye, and just because simply we're doing abstraction and cubism, it's okay if it doesn't look completely realistic or perfect. That is not the goal. And that is never the goal usually. So yeah, my two curves connecting together with another curve on the inside. Okay, I'm gonna divide. So over here you can tell I divided my paper through this line, but this line also becomes a nose. So you do this by dragging a line down the paper, flick it out, and bring it in like a nose. Okay? Super simple. Next, I'm going to do my mouth, and that is just a wavy line for the top mouth. The wavy line goes up, down, and up again. Okay? And I'm going to make her smile. And I'm going to close out my mouth with another line. And I'm going to drag this line out just because, this is, again, not supposed to be realistic. It's expressive. It's an artwork. I can kind of do what I want with it, Okay, I'm going to add some fun shapes here. If you did the geometric and organic shape lesson, you'll know that I'm adding some geometric triangles and curved shapes to my eyes. And I'm going to go ahead and add a line here to divide up my paper. So the goal here is to basically divide up my paper so that I have spaces to color in while still keeping a face intact. I like how I added a heart here. Maybe I'll do a star this time. and then add a line here. I'm kind of just dividing up my paper to make, like I said, spaces where I think it might be interesting to color, while still keeping my face intact, okay? So not sure how your picture might look, but you know, more or less you're basically following features of a face and adding some lines for fun so that you can now spend some time coloring in your work. And as you can see, there's some realism here in the sense that there are skin tones here and eye colors and maybe lip colors that are realistic, but there's also parts of my drawing that are, you would never find my skin tone to look like this. Maybe if I dyed my hair like that, but there are also very creative and imagination-based coloring parts as well. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to talk about a color scheme now. If you were in the last lesson with the organic and geometric shapes, you would have heard about color scheme before. So that's basically making a plan or limiting your color choices. And so here, my color scheme for this part is called warm colors. It's actually made up of only colors that are considered warm. And that is colors, a good way to remember warm colors is thinking about a fire. Like, what kind of colors do you find in a fire, right? So oranges, reds, and yellows, these are all considered warm colors. Next, cool colors, the opposite. Colors that don't have that feeling of warmth, or that might remind you more of like a breezy day. So greens, blues, and purples. I didn't have purple because I don't have a purple crayon, but purple is also considered a cool color. So I'm going to be dividing my picture up today in warm color schemes and cool color schemes. And I'm going to be using my oil pastel because for the most part it's really nice and easy to blend colors with oil pastels. So I'm going to turn up my music, and so I don't know how you've divided up your paper and your face, but you can just go ahead and enjoy coloring in. You don't have to use the cool and warm color scheme that I'm using. That's just a model for you, and that was just a way for me to introduce that vocabulary to you. So I'm going to turn up my music and I'm going to just get going. Again, sorry everyone, the wall here is rough underneath, so it's kind of hard for me to get the colors really filled in because this was colored on my table. And something I realize as I do this is I realize I want to color in the things I know, like the smaller shapes first. So I'm actually going to do brown again for the eyes, only because I also have brown eyes, and it's such a pretty deep color, so I'm going to use them. But if you want to make your eyes green, if you want to make them blue, if you want to make them purple, by all means. If you want to make your eyes rainbow, I wonder what that would look like too. I'm going to use 4 different colors just like I did with my mouth as well, and I'm going to color in my eyelashes before I get going with all these other colors. And just like how we talked about a color scheme, the colors that I pick on parts of my mouth, I'm going to go ahead and repeat in the other parts of my picture. Maybe I'll do part of the star. just peel my crayon. And again, just as we discussed, repeating colors, I'm reusing those colors here so there's some unity. So bright, love it. Next, I moved a little too soon going into the big spaces. Next, we are going to color in our bigger spaces. And as you can see from my old drawing, my demo, I used blacks and browns, and I'm gonna do the same thing only because especially because I really want color balance. So I have my bright colors, and I also want darker colors to balance out my image. And balance is really important in art, having visual balance, so that the viewer doesn't get overwhelmed. I also realized, no, it's fine. I'll add that later when I color. Okay, next. So using cool colors, I'll repeat it again. Blues, greens, and purples are all cool colors. So every section will either be a warm color scheme or a cool color scheme. So I have cool, I have warm, I think I'll do cool in here. So you should really be, right now just working on filling in your spaces with the colors that you've picked out. I'm going to put warm color scheme down here. Great. I'm going to add a couple more colors over here. Sticking to my theme, warm and cools. And as you can tell, I've been working around my face and I've been saving the center for the last. I notice here I've got a lot of colors going on, so I might start slowly getting into my darker tones to give a little visual balance, because right now everything is really, really bright. I'm just extending this. Great, so I'm gonna grab my black, and I'm gonna just put in some really beautiful dark color to balance out all the brightness I have going on. I'm kind of just noticing, like I'm really making it up. Where might an addition of black kind of help the picture out? And then I'm going to go in with a brown. I'm going to just cave off a section too, just to balance out my colors. And the beautiful thing about oil pastels or crayons or colored pencils even is that you can always layer colors on top and they will blend beautifully. So I'm going to grab my peach and I'm going to just add it to my brown. Just so that it's the darkest thing for brown are my eyes, because I want the eyes to really pop out. So this is kind of my spin on being inspired by Cubism and Picasso, but making it my own. And I certainly hope that at home and every time you do make art, you're always making things your own. And so for the last part, the middle part, I'm going to just go ahead and use my peach. You can use any color you want. You can color the center of your face any color you want. You can make it rainbow, you can make it a pattern. This is just kind of the way the drawing spoke to me when I put it together. And I'm making sure not to color too much over my marker because oil pastel does go over marker. It can. And I want to keep my work neat as possible. Okay, and if I had this working on the table, the colors would be a little more toned in. But this is basically it. I actually realized I didn't really leave too much of a space here for me to sign my name, but I can still do it with my marker. Every artist signs their work. That's how we know it's theirs. So that's about it. This is my demo as a close-up of our lesson, and here's the one I just did. It's just a really fun take on how to do an abstracted portrait inspired by Picasso, and also practicing and learning and planning the idea of color schemes, which we not only use in art, but also in interior design and other forms of design, fashion design. So our warm color scheme, as a reminder, reminds us of the fire, yellows, oranges, reds, and our cool color scheme, purples, blues, and greens. And again, sorry I didn't use purple. I don't know why this set doesn't have purple as an oil pastel, but so yeah, there it is. Hope you had so much fun, and see you again next time. Bye.